Twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so busking in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, Satan's that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the frame. You're the home of the brave. those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save, this land of the brave, the U.S. of A. Oh, say, just that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land of the free, and the home of the
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, iRacing fans from around the world, here we sit for another live broadcast brought to you by All Pro Broadcasting. Tonight, we are at the Screamin' Eagle, the Harley-Davidson Screamin' Eagle 266 here at Talladega. I am Scott Kovic, your announcer for the evening. Joining me in the booth is my good friend, Cody Lipsker. Talk to me, Cody.
How you doing, Scott? This is going to be an awesome race out here tonight, a lot like we had last night. Really can't wait for this thing to get going under green.
It is going to be a great race out here, just like we had a great race last night. We've got great conditions out here. Mostly cloudy, 65 degrees. We got a track temperature sitting at 68. So these vehicles right now that we are running out here, they are going to rock this night away. Cody, tell me all about these very powerful Gen 6 vehicles.
You know, not one of the more popular classes we run out here at KMA Racing, but we do run them every once in a while, which does give the drivers quite a bit of a chance to drive. And, you know, with these Gen 6s, as they're called, they're the Cup cars, the Monster Energy Cup cars to be specific, they are really just, they're a handful to drive. They're really overpowered and overweighted, and you know, these Ford Fusions, the Toyota Camrys, and the Chevy SSs, they're all just great cars to be running out here tonight for a good event too.
A great event, the Harley-Davidson Screamin' Eagle 266. Big shout out to my good friend Edward BREY. Now, Edward BREY is the one that is keeping the lights on out here for us tonight, so a big shout out to Edward BREY, a Harley-Davidson man himself. He's got a beautiful Harley-Davidson bike, but tonight he is out there in that great-looking Chevy SS. Big shout-out to John Hedrick and Over the Top Paints and Designs for painting up that beautiful Harley-Davidson mobile being driven by Edward BREY, our host with the most tonight in a special event, Screamin' Eagle 266. Now, Cody, we got two other painters out here tonight, put a lot of work in here tonight. We're going to take a look at the number 5 of Gary Whitmer Jr. tonight. Now, his fine ride has been painted up by Ted Immenheiser, with Gearhead Paint Shop, a recent new acquaintance of ours here with KMA. Austin Painter, like myself, he is all about the red and the black skulls, but tonight he did a beautiful Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle Chevy SS4, our good friend Gary Whitmer Jr. So tonight he's going to be pretty in orange. And our very own number 91 Joel Guy, he's getting his paint brushes a little bit dirty, put out a very beautiful paint job. Very gorgeous paint job out here tonight done by the number 91 of Joel Guy. Now, Cody, talk to me about the track.
The track, it's a 2.66 mile oval, very simple, very easy track to run. Lots of lanes to ride in around here, but the primary lane that every driver is usually going to shoot for right now is going to be the low line. We saw it last night in our Friday night flight series, and I believe we're going to see that a lot again tonight. But as we saw last night as well, we saw the last 20 laps or so, drivers start to get a little bit less patient and really start going after that win the last couple laps or so. But we also did see a lot of tire wear. A good chance for green flag pit stops going to be happening tonight, and I would not doubt to say that we're going to have a good shot at a good hard fight towards the end, just like we did last night.
Now I'll tell you something else we did see. I'm not sure about what lap it was on. There was one instance though. They were 3 wide, and the monkey in the middle, he got a little bit of rear end action, and he went loose. And I think that driver went sideways, but he was able to pick it back up, save it right up, get it back rolling. These big cars, these Chevy SSs, these Toyota Camrys, these Ford Fusions, they can take a licking, but they keep right on ticking, Cody.
That is definitely for sure. They're very good at taking quite a few poundings and being able to walk away very cleanly from it. It's just amazing to see the amount of speed that these drivers are able to do and able to maintain while still being able to, well, just drive their hardest. And we saw it a lot last night. We're going to see it a lot again tonight. And really, I'm looking forward to a lot of this racing action that we're going to see.
Going to be some great racing out here tonight in the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266. Why these drivers are getting ready to grid up and get this show rolling. Real quick reminder about tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing a triple broadcast weekend this weekend with APD and KMA, and tomorrow night we will be racing for PAD in the Race for PAD 266. Going to be some great racing out there tomorrow night for a great cause. Racing for PAD tomorrow night. Drivers are beginning to line up and grid up. We've had 21 drivers out here tonight choosing to qualify. We've got a field sitting at 33 drivers. Up there on that front line is the number 15 of Sean Molchik with a 50.482, side by side with the number 81 of Chad Roy. Chad Roy with a 50.491. Sitting in that third spot is the number 24, Everett F. Lane, with a 50.498. On the outside, P4 is the number 2 of Bob Moore. And taking up that fifth position is James O. Brown, position 5 with a 50.518.
Steve Dutz sitting in 6th position tonight. That will be his starting position with car number 1. He qualified down a 50.524. Gary Whitmer Jr. qualified 7th with a 50.533, driving the number 5 car tonight. Driving the car number 28 is Chris Voiles tonight, and he qualified down 8th with a 50.536. Right behind him is Edward BREY, driving the number 66 Screaming Eagle tonight. Qualified down 9th with a 50.537. Qualifying, rounding out your top 10 is Kenneth Wright in the 146 car with a 50.538.
Position 11 belonging to the number 37 of J.R. Johnson. Position 12, number 4, Matt Burkhart. Jeff Renz in the number 23, P13. Our good friend Chris Hogue in the number 6 tonight, position 14. And Donald Sadusky, the badass himself, number 19, position 15. Lee Staples, number 64, P16. The number 91, Joel Guy, position 17. What a beautiful looking car right there being driven by Joel Guy. Number 27, Harry Dodd, P18. Ryan Kuhn. And the number 21, position 19, Mike Rapinski, number 18, P20. And the number 3 of Ted Ebenheiser, our last qualifier, position 21, with a 51.370. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Ebenheiser heading up the Gearhead Paint Shop. We have got several other drivers back there. Take them away, Cody.
P22 will be Chris Rees. Position 23 is Douglas Hess. Position 24, Sean W. Brown. Position 25, Vernon Margheim. P26, Everett Shepard. Position 27, Ivan Garcia. Position 28, Richard Rose. Position 29, Chris Murrell. Position 30 will be David Whiteside. 31 will be Lee Ryerson Jr. And last in the field, but not least, that will be it for tonight's race. That is your total lineup. Ready to get this thing underway as they're coming through turn 3 and 4.
Going to be some great racing out here. Big shout out to Edward Bray for bringing us the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266. 266 miles out here on this 2.66 mile speedway. We're going to see speeds possibly up to 204 miles per hour now. Big shout out to Wally Terheimer, last night's winner in our race 9 of the Friday Night Flights. Not able to join us tonight, but he has got his teammates out here representing him. Pace car is in, and away we go, ladies and gentlemen, in the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266. Sean Molchek off hard and heavy on that inside lane. Everett Lane on the inside lane in the number 24 DuPont. Looking very good out there, representing Exalted. Chad Roy falling down into line into that third place spot as they come around turn 2, building up the speeds right now at 165 and gaining. Sean Molchek leading us off tonight for 100 laps at Talladega. Take it away, Cody.
Chad Roy in the 81 and Everett Lane being very good, pushing on Sean right now. Not very many moving in the line, but like I said earlier on, I did expect the inside line to really just kind of play a big part, and that's exactly what it looks like it's doing right now. Bob Moore sitting right back behind Chad Roy right now, sitting very comfortably, leaving a little bit of space in between the front and the back car. So no big pushing, no big worries right now coming from anybody in the bottom lane.
These front 10 or 12 drivers right now, they are just single file, no big action up there in the front. We're going to see a lot of single file action. Ladies and gentlemen, these drivers out here tonight know that these vehicles, these cup cars, these Monster Energy Chevy SS, Ford Fusion, and Toyota Tundra, they are a different beast than the trucks or those little old B cars they usually run. These cars, Cody, talk to us about the difficulties of the passing on the outside lane at 204 miles per hour.
You know, the speed around these cars are very, very large and very big. You know, the bulk weight of the cars can cause various types of tire wear, I guess, to say the least. And, you know, when you start to get that tire wear rolling and all of the momentum rolling, it kind of wants to force the car to push to the outside, which, you know, is easy to do, but it can also lose you very many spots very quickly. So right now, a lot of drivers just trying to maintain the bottom lane because there's really not very many places for them to go on that top side. So right now, expect a lot of drivers to be patient. I mean, these cars are very difficult to handle in the first place, and then to get a driver up behind you, it's just best to try to stay in a pack, stay in a straight line, and go from where you can to where you need to be during the last 100 laps of this race.
Well, I tell you what, Cody, why these drivers are doing such a great job gives us a chance to skirt around this field a little bit and take a look at some of these paint jobs out here. I want to jump first and foremost to the number 3 of Ted Ebenheiser. Right now, Ted Ebenheiser qualified 21st and is in 21st. Ted Ebenheiser, sporting out a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, Chevy SS. Ted Ebenheiser, he does head up, here head paint shop, recent new acquaintance of myself, and I tell you what, he is all about the skulls, he is all about the black and the red, all about the flame, but right now they're watching the number 3 of Ted Ebenheiser with the Gearhead Paint Shop. What a great looking paint job right there by Ted Ebenheiser.
Yeah, great looking indeed, and you know, there's a lot of wonderful paint jobs that were done out here tonight. A lot of them I'm not positive about, but I know that another great paint scheme out here, driven by the number 5 car, Gary Whitmer, did an awesome job. I really like the colors and the color scheme of that one. Lots of fine lines going on with that number 5 car right now.
The number 5 car of Gary Whitmer Jr. He did qualify 7th. Right now he is in 8th. Big shout out to Becky Whitmer. Now that number 5 being driven by our guy, Gary Whitmer Jr. That is another paint job out there put out by the boys over there, Ted Ebenheiser at Gearhead Paint Shop. Gary Whitmer Jr. looking very, very sharp out there. Now, looking in the rearview mirror of Gary Whitmer Jr., the Edward BREY in the number 66. Now, I tell you what, my very good friend John Hedrick at Over the Top Paints and Designs, we know all about John Hedrick at Over the Top Paints and Designs. That on the number 66 of Edward BREY, that is the original Screaming Eagle Harley Davidson. Edward BREY, a huge customer of Over the Top Paints and Designs. Big shout out to John Hedrick. Number 66, Edward BREY, showing his support. The host for the most, looking very sharp out here. Qualified 9th right now in 9th position. Edward BREY and Over the Top Paints and Designs, looking cool.
Great looking paint schemes all the way around this track. Now going back to the 91 of Joel Guy. He's got another awesome looking paint scheme on his car tonight.
Now the number 91 of Joel Guy, he is looking like a fireball. He is looking like a red hot fireball. He is dressed up, looks like he drove through a ring of fire. And I tell you what, my brother Cody, Joel Guy, he is screaming. He is showing the support for the Eagle. Looking at the rear end of the number 91, what a great shot right there on the rear end of the number 91, showing that Brotherhood logo, brought to you by Over the Top Paints and Designs. So what Joel did right here, Cody, is he took a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but on the rear end of that 91 SS by Joel Guy, that logo right there we're looking at with the skulls, that is the Brotherhood, the KMA Brotherhood logo. That was designed up for me by my good friend John Hedrick with Over the Top Paints and Designs, and I'm glad Joel is utilizing that great artwork. And then Joel painted up this SS by himself. Joel is up and learning, an up-and-coming painter. Big shout out for all these drivers out here tonight, showing their support for the Screaming Eagle 266. Going back up to the front, checking in on the number 15 of Sean Molschek. What are you seeing out here, Cody?
You know, I'm seeing a lot of great drivers thinking of a lot further into the future. That green flag pit stop that's going to be happening in about 20 laps. The tire wear that's going to be hitting them at about 15 or so, and a lot of drivers that are just being very attentive and very aware of what's going around in their surroundings. Sean being a very smart driver, keeping it glued to the bottom, making sure nobody can get below him, but at the same time still giving Everett enough room to get his nose where it needs to be to breathe. So a lot of drivers giving and taking just little bit by little bit, and just really focusing on where they're going to want to go from here.
Right now, these drivers are looking like a runaway freight train, staying perfectly single file, all the way from first place all the way back to position 17th. In 17th, we have got Chris Mulhall, and the number 11 right behind the number 33 of Vernon Markheim. All these drivers right now are single file. We have got a straight line formation of 16 drivers. Sitting back just a half click, though, we've got the number 19 of Donald Sadusky working along with the number 23 of Jeff Renz. Now, Cody, talk to our viewers, educate our viewers about that draft. Looking at the distance between the number 19 of Donald Sadusky and the number 11 of Chris Mulhall, well, he's looking like he's about 9-10 car lengths. Now, talk to me about that distance in numbers as far as draft. Is Donald Sadusky in danger of losing the straight line locomotive right now?
Right now, here's the strange thing about the SS's and the Camrys, the Fusions, compared to when you're driving the Xfinity cars and the trucks. You have a lot of room that you can take and give and, you know, push on to others. He was only back about 4/10, being that 10 car lengths back. He had another good 10 car lengths before he would have started losing the draft. So right there, he was in no danger of losing the draft, but at the same time, he had that cushion there just in case a caution would have came out. Now, as you saw right there, he was able to suck right back up onto the back end of the number 11 of Chris Mulhall and able to just be right there, right back on him within a split second. So, you know, it's not a big matter of how far back you are as long as you're still able to catch that draft.
Great information right there. Now, I'll tell you what, Cody, I want to give a big shout out to my good friend Michael D'Amico. He's up there working those cameras. One of my favorite camera shots is when we look at this through the eyes of the blimp. We're way up there. We're 2,000 feet up. I don't know. We're sitting on the moon. We got telescopes. But if we look at this group right now from the outer space view, they are indeed straight line formation. We have only got 2 drivers right now on that outside lane. They are indeed looking like a locomotive. Now, a lot of the guys, as we mentioned early on, Cody, they're not very fond of these Gen 6s for this reason right here, because they are a dare to pass on that outside lane. But what this does cause, Cody, this causes these drivers to work together. It causes these drivers to be patient. And what we as the fans and the announcers and the viewers get, we get a lot more green flag pit stops, because these drivers right now, it is going to come in and out of pit road. So, Cody, talk to me about how races can be won or lost with a green flag pit stop.
See, now there's a lot of complications that can go on pit road, and those complications only get more and more severe as you go from, you know, pit stops under caution to pit stops under green flag conditions. Now, granted, under a green flag pit stop, you're able to go from, you know, one pack to another, but under pit road, you go from first to last. But at the same time, here at Talladega, it goes a lot different. Under that green flag circumstance, you hit pit road if there was anything where you had 4 tires checked instead of 2, or if you overshoot your pit box or get held for 15 seconds in pit road. It all kind of matters into one little area or another. You can very easily lose a lap.
Getting those cameras focused down onto the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. Donald Sadusky getting a big push from the number 21 of Ryan Kuhn and the number 11 of Chris Mulhall. Right now, Ryan Kuhn side by side by the number 91 of Joel Guy. One thing we don't want to see is any door banging. I tell you what, Joel Guy worked very hard on a great paint job. But Ryan Kuhn on his outside, keeping a respectable distance down the backstretch. I'm pretty sure when they get into those corners, he's going to duck down. No, actually, he is staying free and clear. Donald Sadusky looking like he wants to go down to the inside, but Joel Guy having a little bit more get up and go on that inside lane. Right now, Joel Guy side by side with the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. We are on lap 15. We've had 0 cautions. We've had 0 lead changes. Good action out here with the number 19 of Donald Sadusky as they do approach the rear end of the number 37 of J.R. Johnson. What will Donald do? He's got to run. Donald's going to give the bumper to the bumper. A little bit of a chrome horn. Will he stay with J.R. Johnson? Cody, talk to me about lane preference right now.
Right now, everybody wants to be to the bottom, but they do know that that outside line has to start working its way in, as we've got a little bit of 3-wide action right there. Donald Sadusky ended up getting a little bit on the outside of J.R. Johnson and ended up going back into that second lane, as it looks like I do not know if that was completely intentional or not, but it looked like there may have been some slight contact there, not entirely too much, but just a little bit between J.R. Johnson and Donald Tedeschi.
Well, J.R. Johnson doing everything he can on that outside lane to make it work. Now, we had talked last night about the leapfrog situation. Now, assuming that the drivers are really challenging one another, watching the number 21 of Ryan Kuhn go up into that outside lane, the inside lane versus the outside lane. Cody, with these Chevy SSs, these Ford Fusions, these Toyota Camrys, that outside lane, it has to have the numbers. And even with the numbers, if you put 9 cars on that outside lane and 5 cars on that inside lane, well, the 9th car on that outside lane will never pass that inside lane. So what they do, they have to do a leapfrog. The front car of the outside lane will make it past the inside lane as they approach at 146 going backwards right now. But what happens is they actually have to play a leapfrog, and the outside lane will push the first car in the outside lane past the inside lane, and he'll be able to drop down, and then the next car on the outside lane, he needs to get pushed in front of that inside lane. But if these drivers do not perform that leapfrog operation, we're just going to go back and forth, and it's a he said, she said all night long. But the inside lane at the start-finish line, lap after lap after lap, here with these Gen 6s, the inside lane will prevail at that start-finish line.
Yeah, it's just going to take a lot for that inside line and the outside line to work together. And, you know, a lot of drivers don't always agree with one another when it comes down to that kind of stuff. So paying very close attention to what's going to happen when the outside line actually starts to get a run, and if the inside line decides to come up and block, that's where it's going to kind of cause a little bit of mayhem and possibly bringing out a caution or taking out a couple drivers. All depends on what could happen.
Well, right now, let's get those cameras focused on the number 5 of Gary Whitmer. Hey, big shout out to Gary Whitmer, getting his first win this week. And Cody, look at Gary Whitmer. He started 7th. Right now, he is 4th. He is on that outside lane being pushed on by the number 66 of Edward BREY. 2 great drivers, 2 great paint schemes. We have got the over-the-top number 66, Screaming Eagle, pushing on the number 5, Gary Whitmer. Big shout out to Ted Immenheiser. Inside lane have a little bit more momentum than that outside lane. But I tell you what, Gary and Edward, black and orange attack, looking very good out there. Now, Cody, we've got a broadcasting update here on chat. Andrew Schulte joining in on that All-Pro broadcasting chat. Rooting on. Let's go, Chris. Chris Voiles in the number 28. Chris Voiles down that inside lane, started 8th, right now in position 11. Now, Cody, talk to me about the teams out here. We do know that Chris Voiles is out here representing Maximum Velocity. He's got Mac Burkhart and Chris Mulhall down there helping him out. Talk to us about some of these KMA drivers out here.
Some of the KMA drivers out here, like Gary Whitmer and Edward BREY, they were working on that high line. And we were also talking about J.R. Johnson earlier before, and we were also seeing a lot of other team players that are in the TS channel tonight. So a lot of communication going on inside that KMA room right now. Just a lot of talking amongst one another. Those drivers, a lot of them somewhere within the top 5, top 10, and primarily right around the top 20 area. And you know, that top 15 is where a lot of those drivers like to sit primarily during the course of the race, and then usually try to save their stuff till the end. So a lot of your KMA drivers have different strategies than Maximum Velocity drivers and fast lane drivers, and, you know, even the core drivers every once in a while. So you know, you've got a lot of different drivers driving teams and a lot of different driving strategies, so it's going to be interesting to see how it all works out in the end.
Copy that. Great information. Hey, I'm going to ask something out there from my All-Pro Broadcasting fans out there. I'd like you to interact with us up here in the chat channel. If you have a favorite driver, you'd like to hear from. And Becky is already raising her hand saying, I want to hear from the number 5 of Gary Whitmer. We'll see if we can get that done tonight. I do want to give a big shout out to the fans, for without the fans, Cody, we'd be up here sitting here talking to ourselves like a monkey in a cage. So big shout out to all the fans out there. Give us a like out there on KMA Racing. Give All Pro Broadcasting a big thumbs up. Check out PAD, PAD.org. Now, speaking of PAD, Cody, I want to get those cameras focused down on the 00, James O.O. Brown. I like that, Cody. James O.O. Brown driving the 00. And James O.O. Brown, definitely not a 00. I want to give a big shout out to James O. Brown driving the Cora Chevy SS. Now, tomorrow night, James Brown was very generous to dig deep into his own personal pockets and take care of the race for PAD 266 tomorrow night. So tomorrow night's PAD race, Cody, it will be sponsored by Cora. Now, I don't know if you know who Cora is, but what Cora is Championship Online Racing Association. Taking a look at the rear end of James O. Brown. Big fire letters right there stating Cora. Now, what Cora does, they're working hand in hand with KMA. Everybody wants a Sunday. Well, we've got the race for PAD once a month on Sunday, but on those other 3 Sundays, check out James Brown and Cora in their Sunday Money League. Sunday Money League. That's a tongue twister right there. Nonetheless, James Brown representing Cora going to be taking care of us tomorrow night in the PAD race. Big shout out to James O. Brown. James O. Brown side by side with the number 4 of Matt Burkhart.
Lots of great side-by-side action going on now up here in front. We had a lot of other cars up on the high side before. Now we're getting a lot of cars up on the high side now. Just looks like James Brown, Gary Whitmer, Edward BREY, and Mike Kaminsky looks like he was jumping up to the high side as well. Not too many that are willing to really ride too far out there, primarily because we're going to be seeing green flag pit stops within the next 5 laps or so.
Copy that. Now, hey, talk to me about those green flag pit stops. Right now, I want to get those cameras focused on the number 18 of Mike Krupinski. Now, Mike Krupinski started 20th. Right now, Mike Krupinski is in position 16th, but he's on the outside. He is 4 to 5 laps away from a green flag pit stop. Shouldn't Mike be getting down?
Everybody should be looking to get to that low side, so it's going to be whether or not they can get down there within the next lap or 2. I do believe that we should be seeing them within the next lap or 2, so I would expect Mike Kaminsky and James O'Brown and Edward BREY and Gary Whitmer to all get down to the low line as soon as possible.
Now, with these green flag pit stops, Scotty, this will be our first round of green. First off, first question, do you need tires, Ishmael?
Yes, you need tires, but you only should have to take 2. That's kind of been the twisting element between the gens and everything else is typically...
Here we go, green flag pit stops, leaders pitting. Sean Molchek, Everett Lane, Chad Roy. Whoa, Cody, I have never seen a green flag pit stop. They are just everywhere, and anybody going into pit row, we have got 1, 2, I cannot count that high. We've got those cameras locked on. Our race leader, Sean Molchek, as he does sit in the pit row. Cody, what a surprise.
Yeah, that was definitely one of those that I did not see coming, and it looks like that they're mostly going to be taking 2 tires, getting in and out of pit road as fast as possible. And it looks like actually the number 21 is going to get off the pit road first. Ryan Kuhn ended up having a fantastic first pit. Now it looks like we're going to be having more green flag pit stops.
Watching the number 5 of Gary Whitmer. Gary Whitmer going into pit row side by side with the number 28. I tell you what, Cody, usually we demand these drivers stay single file over there to the right, but watching Gary Whitmer go into pit row, he's doing the right thing. But these drivers, they came in 3 wide, a little bit of 4 wide. There is no way possible that you can stay to the right side watching Gary Whitmer in pit row. Now, interesting thing here, Cody. Let's see if Gary takes 2 or 4. Because if you're going to fuel up, Gary is a smart man right there. And the reason he is a smart man, Cody, is it takes as long to fill up that tank and to get right sides or left sides. But when you get all 4, that slows down your pit time. So what you need to do is on your first pit stop, you only take rights or lefts. On your second pit stop, you take whatever you didn't take the first time, and your pit stop will not be slowed down. Getting back up with our race leader, number 11 of Chris Mulhall, started 30th right now in P1.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't really know how he got up there, honestly. I do believe that he had pretty good luck, or he may not have pitted yet. He may have actually gone into pit road the last time around and just gotten that great of a pit stop. Very good possibility there. Now it looks like we're going to be crossing the line once more and getting a new race leader, and that will be Ryan Kuhn.
All righty, we're going to hang out here for just a couple of more laps before we take our first commercial break. I do know we've got Ryan Kuhn out there in front, Steve Deuce out there in front. Not sure if these drivers have yet pitted into pit row or not, but Ryan Kuhn, Steve Deuce, a couple of great drivers. We're looking at the comm channel list. Ryan Kuhn not on communication with anybody. Now, is that dangerous out here on this super speedway when we're looking at pit row, Cody? Because what are the dangers of pitting by yourself?
The dangers of pitting by yourself, and this is why you primarily want a bigger team and bigger, more people on your TS and stuff like that, is as soon as you end up hitting in, and it's a very, very common issue to be left off the back of the pack and for you to get freight trained and stuff like that. Now, being that it is the Gen 6s on the inside of the line, it looks like there should be not too many issues.
00 of James O.O. Brown representing Cora. James O.O. Brown in the 00. He will be going into pit row. Big shout out to Cora. Cora taking care of tomorrow night's pad race. You can check him out on the Sunday Money Series. Great looking Chevy SS being driven by James O. Brown. Looking at the hood of that 00. Very sharp looking. We thought James O. Brown was going to go into pit row, but maybe some misinformation right there. James O. Brown pushing on the number 27 of Harry Dodd. We're going to keep these cameras locked up with James Brown, possibly announcing his pit stop way in advance. James Brown pushing on the rear end of the number 27 of Harry Dodd, pushing on the rear end of the number 18 of Mike Krapinski.
Interesting enough, I did not expect James O'Brown to need to pit in right away. Now, he may have messed up his pit stop somehow, some way. I don't believe he did, but it is a possibility that he may have gotten a pit black flag or something along those lines.
Well, we're not seeing James O'Brown going in, possibly a little bit of misfeed on the communication channel right there between us and the on-track helper routers we got. Nonetheless, we are on lap 32. We are on 3 lead changes, 0 cautions. And ladies and gentlemen, we got to keep the lights turned on. We're going to take a very short commercial break, and we'll be right back with you in the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266. We'll be right back.
More than impressive, I have to say. I mean, the track is identical to the real track. I was blown away how realistic it is. Every little bump, every little spray paint, everything is exactly like you're there at the track. It was a great experience.
This is a warm-up lap now. Tires to get warmed up. The engine. Breathe a little bit here when you go through that little bump there, and then it's flat pretty much all the way through here, just about. Hard braking. This is the slowest part of the track.
And then I've done, I did many races in Formula 3, Formula 2, and then I did the very last race they did there in Group C in 1983 in the 956 Porsche. That's when Beloff got the lap record at the 6:11. I think I was second on the grid with the 6:14 or something, which was, those cars were awesome around there, of course, like any car is, that speed.
And this is the corner of all corners here, the Swedenkreuz. Flat all the way into it. And then trail brake all the way into the apex here. And then hard at it again to get good speed down the hill here. Mega fast down this hill here. Just jump from one apex to the next. Gotta be super precise here.
It's almost exactly like the real thing. So, it is certainly realistic enough to get past the very, a lot of the initial hurdles you have when you try to learn to drive a race car, So, I think it's an excellent tool to learn how to race for sure, or learn to drive a car on a racetrack.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are still under green flag racing here at the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266 up in front with our race leaders, Ryan Kuhn, Steve Boots, Chad Roy, Bob Moore. Bob Moore out here tonight representing the boys over there at Loose Lug Nuts Racing. Big shout out to the number 2 of Bob Moore. Another very fine paint job right there by the number 2 of Bob Moore.
Right now we've got Ryan Kuhn still leading this race. He did a great job on his pit stop, was able to come out ahead of everybody else, able to pick up about 5 or 6 positions in pit road, but the rest of those positions, because he did start back at 19th, he was able to gain all of those up through the pack just by simply staying on that outside line and moving where the line moved to. So Ryan Kuhn, being a very smart player in tonight's race right now, able to catch that lead early and maintain that lead as we're coming around to our second round of pit stops here within the next 13-15 laps.
We've got 7 drivers out there in the front. Edward BREY, the 7th driver on that front pack, but in his rearview mirror is the number 19 of Donald Dusty, Sean Mocha, our lead qualifier tonight, and the number 24 of Everett Lane. And it does appear that Donald and company will catch his front pack. So this front pack will indeed consist of, we're looking at 9-10 drivers up here in this front pack. Now position 11 belonging to Gary Whitmer, leading that second pack. Gary Whitmer right now 9.999 seconds back off of that first pack. Now, Cody, educate our fans about what these drivers are feeling. Now, we all know this is an iRacing simulator. We all know what it's like for those real-life NASCAR drivers out there in those jumpsuits. But, these boys out here tonight, even in their real-life scenario, they put a lot of time, they put a lot of energy, they put a lot of effort trying to simulate big dogs out there on the track. So what is going on as I sit here tonight, as I sit here right now at 204 miles per hour with Everett Lane? What is our physicalness? What are we feeling physically, Cody?
Honestly, it's a very draining feeling as you're going around this. Now, yeah, we think of NASCAR drivers and they're very physically fit and, do training day in and day out because that is their full-time job. Now, a lot of us out here, we have outside full-time jobs, and we not all of us are as physically fit as another. So, you know, for some of us, this might be a little bit more difficult to get through 100 laps of green flag racing with no cautions, no caution laps. But, you know, really, this gets very draining and very, you know, physically tiring after long stints and long runs like this. The only break that you get is the 7 seconds that you're in your pit box for. So, you know, a lot of times that is the only time that you can get to sit down, take a drink, and then you're back out there running for another half hour to 45 minutes at a time. So, you know, a lot of the times these drivers don't get enough credit for being as, you know, mentally prepared and physically prepared for these races as what they should.
As we are chatting around here at 202 miles per hour, big shout out to fans out there. Timothy Cox rooting on Ryan Kuhn. Cameras on the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. Donald Sadusky trying to make a run on that outside lane here on lap 42 of 100. Continuing on with our conversation, Cody. Now, I don't get to race a whole lot because of the announcing, but I tell you what, there are nights that I do race that I have left the racing field. You know, last night I got a second place, and I went out there. I was so happy. I was so ecstatic. It was on Thursday night, my bad. And I walked out there, and I went to hug my wife, and she's just like, "You're sweaty. You're sweaty. You need to go shower." And I tell you what, Cody, I was so excited. I was dripping sweat. So, ladies and gentlemen, the physicalness that these drivers, even though it is a simulation, a lot of these drivers out here have invested a lot of time and energy putting up 3 monitors. I run 3 myself. My good friend Edward BREY, he actually races up on a 60-inch flat screen, big screen. A lot of these drivers out here, Cody, they have put literally thousands of dollars. I myself, I'm not going to say my number, but I've got probably a little bit more than I'm willing to admit. But that has been accumulated over the course of 4 years. But that is the passion. And that is my point, fans. The passion. And a big shout out to the wives out there. A big shout out to the moms out there. A big shout out to Becky Whitmer. Night after night after night, Cody. She's out here rooting on her son, Gary. Martha out here rooting on her son, Wally Tierheimer. Big shout out to Michelle Master Eisenhower out here rooting on all the drivers. By the way, check out the Sim Racing fan page Fun for All out there on Facebook by Michelle McMaster Eisenhower. I know she's going to be watching this replay later. So a big shout out to all the ladies out there. I was talking to my good friend Ted Emmenheiser today. Right now, Ted Emmenheiser sitting back there in position 14. Now, even Ted himself said that his wife has made great sacrifices to allow him the time and energy. And Cody, I myself got a confession to make, brother. I work more here at iRacing and KMA than I do in my real life. Now, Cody, I've known you for 4 years. What passion have you put into this over the last 4 years?
You know, a lot of my passion has went definitely to this oval racing and to this KMA community, trying to, you know, not only improve the driving experience, but, you know, to get a lot of driving passion. And another person that's put a lot of driving passion is Vernon Margheim in the number 33.
Green flag.
Looks like we're getting more green flag pit stops in.
Number 2, Bob Moore. Number 2, Bob Moore. Number 2, Bob Moore. Bob Moore in the pit row. Bob Moore in the pit row. Side by side with Donald Sadusky. More green flag pit stops. Ladies and gentlemen, looking at the number 2 of Bob Moore out here driving for Loose Lug Nuts Racing. Bob Moore looking very sharp out here tonight in that Coca-Cola Chevy SS. Let's see if Bob takes 2 or 4, Cody.
This time he should take 2 left sides. He did take 2 rights last time out, so now he's pulling out right behind Steve Dukes once more. And it looks like everybody else coming out right beside him. So good job, good clean pit stop by all the drivers done right there.
Bob. Number 33 of Vernon Margheim going in for a green flag pit stop alongside the number 66 of Edward BREY. Now, number 33, we're actually talking about Vernon Margheim, a good friend of mine here with KMA Racing. Vernon Margheim looking very sharp out here on lap 45. Vernon Margheim looking very good out there. What a paint job out there in the YMS since 1945. Tongue and Sons Diesel Parts Incorporated Chevy SS. Big shout out to Vernon Margheim. Green flag pit stop here on lap 45.
Great job by all the drivers that have already completed their pit stop, but I do know there should be more coming down pit road and getting out back onto this track yet. Chad Roy, currently your race leader, looks like he is pitting in currently. Chad Roy, Chris Mewall, and Chris Voiles. So those 3 drivers now are heading into pit road.
Chad Roy, Chris Mohall, Chris Voiles into pit row. I tell you what, Cody, do my eyes deceive me? We are nearing that halfway point. 0 cautions, only 3 lead changes. Now those lead changes, they are going to stack up, rack up, and back up here as these drivers do change position. Hey, up to the lead, Gary Whitmer Jr. Gary Whitmer Jr. out there in the front, being pushed on by J.R. Johnson, number 37, and the number 23 of Jeff Renz. Gary Whitmer, recent winner. Thursday night, I tell you what, Thursday night, it was great. Gary Whitmer got his very first win, Cody. He actually ran out of fuel as he crossed that finish line. He ran out going into turn 1. I was pushing him. I was helping him out. I ran out in turn 3. I rolled across that start-finish line out of fuel at 122 miles per hour as opposed to 198. But Gary Whitmer Jr., Becky, looky at Gary go. Big shout-out to Ted Emmenheiser, putting on that great paint job right there on the number 5 of Gary Whitmer. Big shout out to Gearhead Paint Shop, making Gary Whitmer looking pretty out here. But right now, it is Gary making Gary look loud. Big shout out to Gary Whitmer.
Yeah, big shout out to Gary right now. It looks like he might be on that fuel strategy that he was on Thursday. So it looks like he might try to win this one just off the strategy alone, as everybody else looks like they have pitted in for their second round of pit stops. Gary looks like he's going to make his second one and try to make it on one more pit stop after this. So interesting strategy, could change the outcome of the race as we are heading around to lap 51.
Gary Whitmer keeping an eye on his rearview mirror is J.R. Johnson, the number 37. Right now, J.R. Johnson sitting there in 3rd place. J.R. Johnson driving the Jim Beam Bourbon. J.R. Johnson, very good friend of mine, looking very sharp out here. Driving the number 37 Jim Beam Bourbon.
Would not be surprised if you see another round of green flag pit stops or the same round finishing up here within the next lap or 2. Gary Whitmer yet to go into pit road, that is confirmed now. So now he will have to pit in within the next lap or 2. I do believe he should be running on fumes right now, not positive. But Scott, I do believe they should be going in this time.
We are going to keep those cameras focused up on these top 4 drivers, Gary Whitmer, J.R. Johnson, Jeff Renz, and Ted Emmenheiser. But hey, if we can get a close-up there of Ted Emmenheiser. Now, Ted started out 21st tonight. Right now, Ted is in that 4th position spot. Ted Emmenheiser, Gearhead Paint Shop. What a great-looking car right there being driven by Ted Emmenheiser. All these drivers out here looking very sharp out here, but Ted Emmenheiser in the Harley Davidson motorcycle right now in position 4, just past that halfway point, Cody.
Yeah, just past that halfway point, should be able to make it from here on one more pit stop. So now is the crucial time to make sure you nail your dot your I's and cross your T's, make a loop through them E's, because you don't want to be missing or messing any of this up right now as the drivers are getting ready and set to go into pit road here. These top 5 should be going in any lap now. Now granted, I also do believe the second pack back there, the 6th through, I believe that is 15th, that 10-car pack also has not gone in, being led by Sean W. Brown. So that pack should also be going in within the next couple laps as well.
Well, let's get back there and check out that second pack. That second pack being led by the number 146 of Kenneth Wright. But I do believe that Kenneth Wright may indeed be 1 lap down. Kenneth Wright leading that second pack, but Kenneth Wright is 1 lap down. Now, Cody, what is the mentality of Sean Brown right now? Because Sean Brown is right now pushing on the lap traffic of the number 146 of Kenneth Wright. Or are they like, hey, lap traffic, does lap traffic mean you're slower? Does lap traffic mean, hey, get out of my way? Or does lap traffic mean, hey, I got nothing to lose, brother. I am now your best friend.
See, now if we were talking about Atlanta or, California Auto Club or, any track like that, then yeah, that would be a situation where, yeah, get up out of the way. You're trying to race here. But right now, that 146 is nowhere in danger or anybody's, real enemy. So I would not really be concerned about Kenneth Wright. He is doing nothing but sitting in front and saving Sean W. Brown some fuel. So, Sean, thinking probably, there's no reason for me to pass Kenneth Wright, but there again, if he does end up slowing me down whatsoever, get him out of the way. There's no reason for him to be there if he can't maintain speed. But right now, kind of doing a great job on being able to lead that pack right there and not have any issues.
Copy that. Now we're going to get up to the cameras on 146, number 146, Joel Guy, number 91. Green flag pit stops, number 91, Joel Guy. Joel Guy going into pit row. Number 91 of Joel Guy going into pit row, along with the number 146 and the number 65. The cameras are locked and loaded on Joel Guy. Big shout out to the number 91 of Joel Guy. Green flag pit stop here on lap 54. Joel Guy, green flag pit stop, taking right sides. Hey, big shout out to Joel Guy, up and coming painter. Only right sides, Joel Guy, speeding out of pit row. Almost turned her sideways, Cody.
We do have an issue going on in the back of the pack there for the leaders that were entering pit road. It did look like Gary Whitmire may have gotten collided with J.R. Johnson entering pit lane. This is where it's going to get crucial, where it's going to get a little bit hairy. It kind of broke up the front pack, and now that green flag pit stop that was going to help them get to the lead and maintain that lead. Gary Whitmer now possibly having to fix some front end damage and get back out there. Now Matt Burkhart could possibly be your leader. Lots of other drivers though that are going to be single out and single file out there with not many other places to go for them.
All right, Cody, now talk to me about some numbers here. At full capacity of fuel, we are looking at 31 laps.
See, now here's the thing. I have yet to run the gens at Talladega in a very, very long while here. So, right there, it did not look like anybody was able to get a full 30 laps out of their tank. So I'm looking at a lot of drivers that were able to get about 25 to 27, maybe 28, 29, but there wasn't a lot of drivers that were able to pit in by lap 50 unless they were doing short pit strategies, which very well could be. But even at that point in time, it'd be very risky to try to lose the pack or maintain such a large pack going into pit lane at that point. So interesting pitting strategies, lots of different drivers deciding to do a lot of different things. So not positive on if they can make a full 30 laps, but if they can, they can. If they can't, well, they might not be able to make it on one more stop, in which then we would be seeing a pit stop within the next 5 to 10 laps, maybe 15 at the most.
Up here in the front, we do have 8 drivers that are sitting on this lead lap. The 8th driver on the lead lap is Everett Lane up here in this front pack. But they have got some lap traffic up here, looking at the number 33 of Vernon Margheim. Now, Vernon Margheim is 1 lap down. But Vernon Margheim up here mixing it up with the leaders. Now, Vernon Margheim sits between position 4, the number 1 car of Steve Dukes, in front, and he has got the number 66 position 5. So by positioning, we have got a position 4, a position 18, and a position 5. with Edward BREY and Vern Markheim on that same radio channel. Right now, Edward BREY, I'm sure, is saying, Vernon, help me out, brother. Right now, Vernon Markheim, the monkey in the middle as far as lap traffic. But looking at, well, he is indeed our first driver a lap down. Well, all right, Cody, again, I am all about the education to our fans. Talk to me about the lucky dog. Right now, Vernon Markheim is the first driver a lap down. His competition is number 27 of Harry Dodd, 1 lap down. But Harry Dodd a little bit ways back. So what has got to be the mindset of Vernon Markheim, 1 lap down, position 17, racing with the leaders? If he wants to win tonight, what does he got to do?
Well, see, you spoke right about how Vernon Markheim is the first car 1 lap down. That is perfect. That is one of the many requirements to getting that lucky dog. Now, another requirement is that you must keep your car clean 100% if the caution does end up flying. So no zero X's, no car contacts, you can't scruff the wall, nothing. I mean, you've got to be perfectly clean and be able to get through it just like that. Now, Vernon Markheim, very clean driver. I don't doubt that if we do end up getting a caution, he will be the one car to get the lucky dog. So as long as he can maintain that position and maintain the speed that he's got and avoid the wreck, he should have no issues with getting that lucky dog as long as the caution does fly. I have yet to see the caution or any reason for the caution to come out. So really, we might be looking at a flag-to-flag race, perfectly green flag runs.
Do definitely hope for a flag-to-flag race, but back to Vernon. Now let me just play devil's advocate here, Cody. Let's say hypothetically that the caution does come out, and that caution is behind Vernon. So right now he is free and clear. But if Vernon does not check up fast enough, checking up, he does not brake up, and he gets into the rear end, just a slight little fender bender, he just crashes into the rear end of the number 65 with Sean Brown. He breaks a taillight or a headlight. Now that's going to eliminate him from the possibility of that lucky dog. But he has got minor damage. Now, assuming that the 1, 2, 3, 4 positions in front of him on the lead lap go into pit row, Vernon can forfeit that pit stop and he will get that free pass. Tell me about the free pass.
Now, the free pass, it works a lot like the lucky dog, in which you actually get your lap back, you get waved around the pace car, but it happens on the very last lap that we get ready to go to green flag racing. So you do not or are not allowed to go into pit road. So Vernon Markheim, he may be able to get back on that lead lap like that, but it is not ideal. It is not the perfect situation like what he would be hoping for, and at that point he would actually end up running out of fuel in about 5-10 laps after that caution flew, depending on where it actually flew at and how it came out and all that.
Great information right there, Cody. I appreciate that. Now, since these drivers are doing such a great job, I do want to cycle back, take a look at a few of these other drivers. I want to check in with one of our favorite drivers out here, the number 171 of David Whiteside. Now, David Whiteside has had his fair share of wins. Riddle me this, riddle me that. I am not sure how the number 171 of David Whiteside ended up 2 laps down, but David Whiteside out here by his lonesome here on lap 62. His lap 62, 2 laps down in position 23. I'll tell you what, Cody, if he goes caution free out here tonight, David Whiteside will not finish this race with his normal top 3.
No, David usually has a very good and clean race, but I think it may have been an issue with green flag pit stops that may have put him back here. I'm not positive, but with him starting back in 32nd position all the way in the very tail of the field, it ends up messing up with some of his typical patterns with, getting towards the front and staying towards the front. David usually doing a very good job of that. This time around, does not look like it's going to be able to happen. So David hanging in there for as long as he possibly can, probably going to finish where he is as long as we do not get a caution. But good job to David for still hanging out there. I mean, staying in the race.
Alrighty, copy that. Now, Cody, we have still got one more round of green flag pit stops. We're on lap 66. Once these drivers do hit lap 70, they will be guaranteed good to go on a green flag pit stop. So right now, Cody, I want to challenge our fans. I want to get our fans out there in that All-Pro Broadcasting chat involved. We always try to provide you with education up here with the booth. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you the top 10 round-off and their numbers, and I want you to type up into that All-Pro Broadcasting chat, knowing that we have got another round of green flag pit stops coming. I want you to take a guess at who you think is going to win the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266. Here we go. Number 21, Ryan Goon out there in number 1 spot, along with the number 81 of Chad Roy, Chris Hoyle, Steve Deuce, Edward Bray sitting in P5. Live and in jive, number 2, Bob Moore, position 6. Everett Lane, 7th. Sean Molchek, our number 1 qualifier, position 8. Ted Ippenheiser, position 9. Jeff Renz sitting in position 10. But Jeff Renz and Ted Ippenheiser leading that second pack at 35 seconds back. Alrighty, fans, there is your information. We've got 8 drivers on the lead lap. We've got 8 drivers in the lead pack, and the second pack consisting of positions 9 through 13. So after position 13, number 14th position, James O'Brown, 47 seconds back. Now on a 47-second lap time, he's going to get lapped, Cody. Keeping those cameras focused on Ryan Kuhn, about ready. A couple of drivers to lap down. Alrighty, fans, there's your information. Do you think Ryan, Chad, Chris, Steve, or Edward will win the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266? What do you think, Cody?
Really, I do believe it is still anybody's race with the amount of laps that we have to go. We do have to go through that final green flag pit stop. So right now, everybody is being very patient. They're being very calm, cool, collective, trying to run it through one lap at a time. So right now I would not be surprised to see a lot of the drivers to just kind of continue what they're doing. And Ryan Kuhn is sitting in a very good position, but we saw, just like last night, Chad Roy could just very easily take it away, or at least give him a good run for his money. So Chris Boyles, he could do the same. I mean, really any of these drivers within the top, I'd say top 5, maybe even top 8 yet, could possibly could still do it. And really a big factor could be that lap traffic that's sitting in between all these other drivers that really could throw a big loop into things. Vernon Markheim sitting right there, we know he's on same radio comms as Edward Bray, so that also throws another loop into things. I mean, a lot of these drivers just very calm, cool, and collective, trying to think of what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. I mean, being that James O'Brown is sitting up there, he's technically not lap traffic yet. He is still technically on the lead lap, but within the next 5 laps or so, a lot of things can change. J.R. Johnson being another one of those that could possibly make the outcome of this race a little bit different.
Copy that, Cody. Great information. Now, to clarify this with our fans, we are looking at the race leader, Ryan Kuhn. But you're looking at the broadcast, you're rooting on your favorite driver, but you're looking at it, Ryan Kuhn right now, and I'm calling him as our race leader. Well, yes, indeed, that is accurate. But how? Riddle me this, riddle me that. One more time. Ryan Kuhn's not in front. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Kuhn is in front of the lead pack. Ryan Kuhn right now pushing on J.R. Johnson. J.R. Johnson tonight driving the number, I do believe the number 37, being pushed by our race leader. Now, J.R. Johnson in the number 37 and James O.O. Brown in the 0-0. I just like saying that, 0-0 and 0-0. But they are not a lap down yet. But if the number 21 of Ryan Kuhn is our race leader, if Ryan Kuhn passes J.R. Johnson and James O. Brown, they will fall onto that lap, they will fall a lap down. So right now, Ryan Kuhn is leading lap 71, and he is pushing on J.R. Johnson, who is the last driver on the very same lead lap. So right now, if you are Ryan Kuhn, is your focus on putting J.R. Johnson and James O. Brown a lap down, or do you want to just ride in their draft, Cody? Are they your competition, or are they your help?
Right now, they're nothing but help, because there is no reason to continue going on, and pushing your way through and past a lot of other drivers unnecessarily, because really you're going to do nothing but give the driver behind you more of a chance to get underneath you and get past you. Because right now, Chad Roy, I know he's not in a big rush right now, but that can all change very, very quickly and very, very fast. So again, with this being, you're running at 200 plus miles per hour. If he ends up slipping up, there's a good chance of making leaders
21
pitting in.
Ryan Kuhn into pit row. Ryan Kuhn into pit row. Ryan Kuhn, Chad Roy side by side into pit row, along with the number 81 of Chad Roy and the number 1 of Steve Dutz and the number 33 of Vernon Markheim. But right now, Ryan Kuhn, we have got those cameras locked and loaded on Ryan Kuhn. Cody, my eyes must deceive me. We have only had 6 lead changes. We have only had 0 cautions. Listen to me, Cody. I'm all worked up and so excited.
Yeah, we haven't had any cautions. We've had a very calm, cool, collective race. And, everybody's run a very good, clean race on top of that and been able to maintain where they're supposed to be and maintain where they want to be. So that
number two, Bob Moore.
Green flag pit stop. Now we're going to be finishing that up. Bob Moore is going to go into pit road.
Number 2, Bob Moore, representing Loose Lug Nuts out here tonight. Big shout out to Bob Moore in the Coca-Cola. Bob Moore taking that mighty long drive. Now, Cody, Bob Moore up here in qualifying position of position 3. Now, I don't qualify. You don't qualify. How important is that qualifying grid? Why do you? I know why I don't qualify, because I like that rear pit stop. I don't like having to drive all the way down pit row. Got past up 39 pit stops. That's a mighty long, lonely ride at our pit row speed, of which sits at 60 miles per hour. But for these drivers like Bob Moore that qualified up in 4th, that's a mighty long ride down pit row underneath the green flag. How is that an influence?
See, now, there's a couple of different strategies. If you qualify well enough, you can get to the very front of the pack and very front of the field, and you're typically able to just put it into second gear and burn out your tires all the way through and get out as fast as possible. And typically, you won't get a speeding penalty because of the way the scoring loops work. Now, if you are sitting in the very back of the pack, like what you and I usually do, it's a lot less chaotic under caution restarts and stuff like that. So a lot of different strategies go into a lot of different drivers and the way they work their pit stops and the way they work where they want to be. Now, right now, you saw Bob Moore. He was able to get in and out of his pit box without any issues because he was all the way up there, and there was also nobody else on pit road at the time. So he was able to do a very clean and easy pit stop without actually having to worry about any of the other drivers. That works out very well if you're out here under caution-free conditions. 25 laps to go, or 24 laps to go. This should be a very good end of the race now that we've got the leaders caught back up with one another. I don't expect any other reasons to be going into pit road, so green flag pit stops are done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, green flag pit stops are done. As Cody just said, we will get to be, we need to take our last commercial break. And we're going to be right back very shortly, within 3 minutes, to wrap up the KMA Racing, brought to you by Edward BREY in our Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266. We'll be right back at you momentarily to wrap up tonight's race.
You're watching All Pro Broadcasting with
Freedom Train.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, great commercial work right there by Off-Road Broadcasting. Now, Cody, talk to me about Freedom Train, that up-and-coming rising band. We're hearing that great commercial, watching the number 91 of Joel Guy going into pit row. But Cody, we saw on that commercial right there all about Freedom Train, great band.
Yeah, great band. I've heard quite a few of their songs, primarily in the APB rooms and stuff like that. So, you know, they're really up and coming. They are fresh and ready to go out there and really show the world what they can do. And, you know, I don't know much about them, but I do know they are awesome. I've loved listening to them every time I hop into this room and hop into these rooms and listen to APV and the intros and everything like that they're able to come out with are really cool, and I like to just sit back and relax and listen to them before the races get going. Gets me really pumped and ready to do this.
Watching the number 91 of Joel Guy exit pit road, but a big shout out there to Freedom Train. Gonna try to get some information out there on that All Pro Broadcasting chat about where you can check it out. Freedom Train. But Freedom Train and APB, All Pro Broadcasting Network, got a lot of exciting things coming up in the future with APB and Freedom Train. Big shout out there to Freedom Train. Also want to give a shout out to Apache Race Designs as well. Alrighty, Cody, back to these green flag racing. We've had 0 cautions. Right now we've got Steve Dukes out there in front leading the Screaming Eagle 266, brought to you by Edward BREY. We're at Talladega. Steve Dukes now in that number 1 position, but he's been riding behind lap traffic. Well, the soon-to-be lap traffic again. Vernon Markheim leading Steve Dukes. Vernon Markheim not yet a lap down, but Steve Dukes and Ryan Kuhn, if they pass Vernon Markheim, and Vernon Markheim goes up, well, riddle me this, riddle me that, one more time. Bob Moore on the inside. Bob Moore going 3 wide. Bob Moore 3 wide with Vernon Markheim and Steve Dukes being pushed on by Edward BREY. 3 wide action. Vernon Markheim officially 1 lap down. That number 3 belonging to Cody. It is heating up. That number 3 belonging to the Ted Emenhiser. Cody, take it away. I'm getting excited.
Ted Emenhiser really coming out of nowhere, showing his strength. He is 1 lap down along with Sean W. Brown, but they were able to be pushing on the number 2 of Bob Moore and the 66 of Edward BREY. Here, they were able to get a great run. I was watching them for the last 2 laps or so. They were hitting speeds of well over 200 plus miles per hour, 202, 204, right around there. There has been a great shot for Bob Moore and Edward BREY. They've been catching and catching and catching. They went from 2 seconds to less than a half a second, and now to the lead. Great job by all the drivers right now, as Edward BREY and Bob Moore sitting P2 and P1.
Bob Moore out here representing Loose Lugnuts. And hey, I want to give a big shout out to Loose Lugnuts Racing. Big shout out to John Edrick, Billy Wise, Wesley Reckham Holland out there. Guys are rooting him on out there tonight. Bob Moore out there in the Coca-Cola Chevy SS, I do believe, but he's being challenged by our host with the most. Big shout out to Edward BREY, keeping the lights turned on tonight in the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266. And Cody, I tell you what, there is no finer feeling than if you are the host and you actually win the race. Now, what do you think about that?
That is definitely an awesome feeling. Not to mention, I'm sure Ed would love to get another win under his belt. It's just going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of effort to try to get working himself around Bob Moore. Now, I do believe that we did have a fan out there that was rooting on Mr. Edward BREY, saying that he's going to roll the dice. Mr. U.S. Army out there, he looks like he's going to be getting some fans to root him to the finish.
Hey, big shout out to James Lehman, U.S. Army. Hey, James, type it up in that All Pro Broadcasting chat. Let me know you are in live and you are in drive mode. Big shout out to Becky Whitmer. We are on lap 88. I do want to get one big final check. We're going to start back here on the last driver on the lead lap. We're going to work our way back up to the front during these last 12 laps. But starting back there, we have got 10 drivers on the lead lap. Jumping back to the number 5 of Gary Whitmer Jr. right now. One more good look at the number 5 of Gary Whitmer Jr. in the Ted Emenhiser. Great looking paint job right there, brought to you by Ted Emenhiser. Gary Whitmer pushing on the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. Donald Sadusky pushing on the rear end of Jeff Rins, but they are 38 seconds back off of our front 7. Jumping up to the front 7, Cody. We're looking at the number 24 of Everett Lane. Take us away with the side-by-side action.
The side-by-side action right now, Everett Lane pushing on Sean Malik. Sean Malchek, and they're fighting side by side with the 29 and the 37 of J.R. Johnson and the 29 of Lee Ryerson Jr. back there. They're both lap drivers, but they are allowing for good, safe driving. They are still ways back behind the leaders, about 10 seconds or so, not quite able to get the same amount of speed, running 198 compared to the leaders, which are running 200 plus miles per hour.
Now, speaking of our leaders, jumping up into 5th place, we've got the number 81 of Chad Roy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've only got 5 drivers up here in this lead pack that are on that lead pack, but they have got a lot of lap traffic out here. The number 33 of Bernie Markheim, lap traffic. The number 3 of Ted Immenheiser, lap traffic. So in this conjunction function of heavy traffic up here, you see a lot of drivers up here. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the names that matter. Well, all names matter. All names matter. But let's take a look at our leader names. We've got Bob Moore out there in front in the number 2 Coca-Cola. We have got number 66 Edward Bray right now in P2. We have got Steve Deuce in P3. We've got Ryan Kuhn in P4. And we've got Chad Roy in P5. Now, folks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there is no lap traffic interference. But behind the number 81 of Chad Roy, we have got the number 33 of Vernon Markheim. Vernon Markheim, our first driver, 1 lap down. Behind Vernon Markheim, we've got Ted Immenheiser, 1 lap down. Behind Ted, we have got Sean W. Brown, 1 lap down. And behind Sean W. Brown, we've got the number 11 of Chris Mohall, 2 laps down. We are on lap 90. We've had 9 lead changes. We're going to get those cameras locked and loaded up here in the vicinity of Edward Bray and Steve Dutz. Cody, lap 92. All Pro Broadcasting Chat fans, come on, talk to me. Let me know I'm alive. Who do you think is going to win the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 266? Will it be Bob? Will it be Ed? Will it be Steve, Ryan, or Chad Roy? Pick your favorite driver. Cody, I have got my bets either on Edward Bray or Steve Dutz, because I think Bob Moore being out there in front with 7 to go, I think he is a sitting duck.
See, now we saw it yesterday where it worked out for the driver in front, but see, now I'm looking for Bob Moore in the Team Speed channel, and the only person that he has around him for help is actually Steve Dutz, and that is not the car that is currently pushing him. So right now I'd be watching the 66 of Edward Bray, seeing on whether or not he makes a move to go high. There does look like there's a high line starting to form. Chad Roy up on that high side, but also being pushed by Vernon Markheim, the car that is 1 lap down. But he's always been up there, and he has been up there for the entire race. Help is still help. Does not matter where you get it from.
But Cody, you talked about the communication channel. Now, Steve Dutz is not on the same radio frequency as Edward Bray, nor is Chad Roy, nor is Ryan Kuhn. The nearest radio frequency that Edward Bray has is the number 33 of Vernon Markheim. So right now, Bob Moore, no communication help. Edward Bray, no communication help. Steve Dutz, no communication help. Nor is there help for Chad, nor is there help for Ryan. So I don't know. We hear a lot about ESP. Hopefully, Edward Bray will get some ESP out there to Steve Dutz. But right now, the inside lane, well, right now, Cody, I'd like to be in the position of Bob Moore. C21 Florida saying the money is on Mr. Kuhn, calling him Kuhn as in raccoon. Hey, Ryan Kuhn right now in P5, right alongside the rear end of the number 1 of Steve Dutz. Big shout out to Florida rooting on the Coon.
Yeah, there's been a lot of luck for Ryan Kuhn lately. He did end up doing very well last night and doing very well this afternoon, and able to get up to the lead for pit strategy and a little bit of help on that outside line. So now it looks like he's going to jump out to the outside line. Now it looks like Edward BREY also jumping to that outside line. Steve Dukes now with
3
3
wide.
wide, going for the lead.
Ryan Kuhn pitted on 3 wide here on lap 96. All right, here you go, Mr. Florida. Here goes Ryan Kuhn, going to get a big push from the number 33 of Vernon Margheim. Vernon Margheim, lap traffic. Up goes the number 1 of Steve Dukes. Edward BREY leading out there in the middle lane, but inside comes Bob Moore. Steve Dukes, will he help out Edward BREY? No, he will not. We are 3 wide action. Edward BREY getting hung out in the middle, trying to get all the draft he can. What will the number 3 do? Number 3 will come down on the inside. Edward BREY dropping back down. Edward BREY going to get a little bit of love there from Ted Emenhiser. But up here in the front, we've got Bob Moore and the number 81 of Chad Roy. Edward BREY in a very great position. The host of the most. I am rooting for Edward BREY. How about you, Flag? Florida saying, now we are racing. How about you, fans?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of excitement going on right now. There's a little dry spell there where not much was happening. Now we're definitely back out here racing side by side. It was good competition, good hard racing, and now we're down to our final 7 drivers to be pushing around this 2.66 mile track as we came to 3 to go the last time by, coming around this time 2 to go. So, we're still looking at pretty well the same stats, but this time now Chad Roy able to gain quite a few spots off of the shuffling that was going around while the 3 wide was hitting its peak in action. Now Chad Roy went from being in right around P4, P5 to now being in position number 2. Chad Roy has a very good chance of winning this, but he will be pushing Bob Moore for another lap or 2.
Chad Roy right now qualified second. Right now is in second. Chad Roy in the number 81. Chad Roy in the number 81 in second position. We are on lap 99, Cody. Is Bob Moore a sitting duck? Will Edward BREY and Chad Roy try to make a last-minute run? Is the number 3 of Ted Emenhiser. Ted Emenhiser, I do believe, is 1 lap down. How much of a factor right now could Ted be?
Right now, Ted could be the 4th or the 5th car going for that outside line. Looks like Chad Roy is going to the outside line with help from Edward BREY and Ted Emenhiser. Now, it looks like we've got a total 3 wide action, or 2 wide action, 3 cars going to the front.
We've got Chad Roy out there in front being pushed on by the host for the most, number 81, number 66 of Edward BREY. We are on lap 99. We've got Chad Roy, Edward BREY, Bob Moore, Steve Dukes. Well, right there it is. Chad Roy, Edward BREY, Bob Moore, and Steve Dukes. Our 5th place position, Ryan Kuhn, 0.7 back. This is going to come to the checker flag. Cody, take it away, brother. Last lap. It's all yours.
3 wide. We are coming to the line as Edward BREY looks like he's not going to get enough help. Steve Dukes going to come underneath and take over second position. Chad Roy takes home the win tonight.
Chad Roy, Steve Dukes, Edward BREY. What a night. Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, we're going to get these drivers up here for post-race interviews. Joining us first up in the booth will be the number 66 of Edward BREY.
Edward BREY, you got a copy?
Got a copy.
Alrighty, what a heck of a finish. What a race. How's your car out there?
Oh, the car was great. Handling was perfect. Couldn't ask for a better car tonight.
10-4 on that, bringing home 3rd place. You were fighting there strong for the 2nd position and almost capturing that win, but Chad Roy able to nose out ahead of you, but still pretty good host for the race for tonight.
Yeah, it was great pushing Chad up to the front, and it was great racing for everybody, and I definitely thank everybody for showing up.
10-4. Well, thank you for hosting up this great event. Great car choice, great track choice, and awesome job by all the drivers. Thank you, Edward, for your time, and also thank you for hosting this up.
Thanks, Cody. I appreciate it.
Joining us up here in second place is the number 1 of Steve Dutz. Now, Steve Dutz, you started out tonight in P6, and you finished up P2. Talk to me about your race.
We were really close on fuel to the end. We were about, during the run, we were about a lap shy, then we became about 3 to 4 laps good, but we were, that was a heck of a job. I gave a good shove to Chad there, and that was all she wrote, so.
Alrighty, we'll copy that. Now, Steve, you did an amazing job. More importantly, we had 0 cautions out here tonight. Talk to me about how the field did tonight.
The field did great. We did a really good job out tonight. I'm glad we went caution free. Some people hate these cars. I actually adore these cars. These cars are great. I love them. Brings some good, brings the racing aspect to, and the strategy aspect to KMA.
All right, I'll tell you what, Steve Dutz did an amazing job tonight. Hoping to see you tomorrow night in the pad race.
I will be there.
All righty, copy that. Steve Dutz starting 6th, finishing 2nd. But our race winner of the night, we have got the number 81 of Chad Roy. How about it, Chad Roy? You've got a copy, sir. Chad Roy, you've got a copy, sir. Alrighty, unfortunately, Chad Roy having some communication issues, but Chad Roy bringing it home tonight started in P2, finished out P1. Alrighty, Cody, give us some race results.
Alrighty, race results tonight. We had obviously 0 caution laps. Great racing by a lot of the drivers. A little bit light on the lead changes, but there were still 10. So, I mean, we still got to see a lot of the side-by-side action. Most laps done by Ryan Kuhn himself, leading 35 of them. Now, he also led the fastest lap, so a lot of good, hard racing. So, good, solid racing, good, solid action. Either way it goes, it was really good racing. Solid, no cautions, no nothing.
All right, I'll tell you what, we've had a great run. We were still trying to raise Chad Roy on that microphone, but not so sure that is going to happen. But I tell you what, Cody, these drivers went caution-free out here tonight. Now, real quick shout-outs to All Pro Broadcasting, Over the Top Paints, Gary Hit Paint Shop, PADD. Now, Cody, real quick, as we wrap it up, talk to me about tomorrow with Pad.
Tomorrow is the monthly Pad 266. Going to be a very good close race to what we saw tonight. It's going to be Talladega. Only difference is I do believe we're in the trucks, so it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to see a lot more 3-wide action and a lot more, well, side-by-side action, really. It's going to be a lot more runs, and it's going to be interesting to see who can come out on top once more in tonight's third race of the weekend here for Pad 266.
Alrighty, copy that. Now, I do want to give a big shout out to Pad, PADD.org. Big shout out to Edward BREY. Edward BREY starting 9th, finishing 3rd. The host with the most. Big shout out to Edward BREY. Big shout out to Over the Top Paints and Designs, sponsoring up our number 3rd position paint job. Big shout out to Gary Whitmer Jr. pulling off a very solid top 9. Big shout out to Joel Guy, 1 lap down, position 18, but alive and in charge Big shout out to Chad Roy, CB's Edward BREY. I am Scott Kolovic. He is Cody Lipster. We've got Michael D'Amico on those cams. Join us tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, for the Race for Pad 266. I'm Scott. He is Cody. He is Mike. And we are out of here. And we are caution free in the Harley Davidson Screaming Eagle 266. Check you tomorrow night.
Does your home suffer from paint failure? It's time to paint the exterior of your home if it's suffering from caulking, peeling, blistering or dried wood, fading or bleaching, cracked or stained stucco. Have the Arizona Painting Company make your home look like new again. With our gold package, we offer the best and only 10-year paint warranty in Arizona. Our crews are experienced, well-trained, friendly, and best of all, they'll make sure you're 100% satisfied. Choose the best. Choose the Arizona Painting Company. Visit us online or call today and ask about our 10-year gold package paint warranty.